My name is Cade Courtley, and this is Can You Survive This Podcast? The show is designed to teach you techniques that will increase your chances of survival if you happen to find yourself or your family in any life-threatening disaster scenario imaginable. Each episode will put you smack in the middle of a new disaster scenario as I challenge my guests to see if they have what it takes to get out alive. Knowledge is power, people. Can you survive this podcast? My fellow survivors, if you can hear my voice, it means you're still alive, and it is my mission to keep it that way. I'm Cade Courtley. Welcome to another episode of Can You Survive This Podcast? All right, I'm very excited. I've got a very good friend of mine who is our guest today. This individual is not only an incredible survivor, but an American hero. And I'm talking about somebody who is an Air Force F-16 pilot. He ended up getting shot down over Bosnia and Herzegovina, a place I spent a lot of time in, and was on the run, being hunted for over 6 days. And now he is our guest here today. Ladies and gentlemen, Scott O'Grady. Scott, welcome to the show, buddy.
Hey, Cade. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
So Scott, we like to play a little game.
All right.
Here on the show that we call Hypothetical Survival World. And basically what I'm going to do, it's a lot like the old Choose Your Own Adventure books. I'm going to put you in a hypothetical situation. And you're going to have 10 opportunities to choose A or B and see if you get out alive. Now, for every positive correct answer, you get 10 points. Every wrong answer, you lose 10 points. So therefore, A perfect score would be 100 points. Are you ready to enter hypothetical survival world, Scott O'Grady?
Yeah, I'm ready. And the good thing is that I'm sitting comfortably in my office, and I know that I'm going to live through this.
That's why it's hypothetical, buddy.
Even if I mess up.
All right. Well, in addition to being an amazing hunter, and honestly, I didn't think Air Force knew how to shoot until you and I started shooting. You've got that squared away. I also know that you're a huge skier. And,
yeah.
So we're going to put you out in the slopes. It's the end of the day. It's the last run. You decide to go out of bounds. Do a little timber bashing for your last run of the day. Sun's starting to get low. Cruising along, having a great time. Ski clips a limb that's covered with snow. You go tumbling. Get up. And you've got a compound fracture in your right leg. Sun is setting. Temperature is dropping. You reach for your cell phone. It's crushed. Not working. So you got a broken leg. You have no communications. What do you do? Here is your first option. Are you going to address the injury, or are you going to start moving towards one of the groomed slopes?
Is the compound fracture already life-threatening immediately? Is there an artery that's been severed? Am I bleeding out?
Okay, so it's your lower leg. It's your tibia. It is out. You are bleeding, but it's not a major sort of arterial bleed where you're going to be done in 5 minutes. But it is a broken leg, and it is bleeding. Do you address the injury, or do you get on the move?
Yeah, if it was already life-threatening, I'd address the injury. But because of the fact that I'm isolated, I can't communicate, and I've got to get out into the groomed area where somebody can see me to hopefully have somebody come and help rescue me, I'll start trying to maneuver myself to get out to the groomed area.
Okay, now for this, there's a solid argument for either one. I'll go back to address the thing that can kill you first. And so in this particular case, given the environment and everything, I would recommend addressing the injury first. You're bleeding. As the temperature drops, you need to worry about shock. So for this particular hypothetical survival scenario, I'm going to say you need to address the injury first. That's all right. So we're minus 10. Again, you could argue either one. But you're pretty far back into the out of bounds area. Shame on you. You know you're not supposed to do that anyway, right?
Actually, I've done this.
Yes, I know. Let's hope there's a better result here. All right, you've addressed the injury. Now, do you go ahead and start moving? Oh, let me back up here. Sun's down. Sun's gone. Do you move? Try and head out. Maybe you can flag down one of the snowcats or somebody that's grooming the slopes. Maybe one of the people that's still on the slope for some reason. Or do you start thinking about shelter?
If I think I can get to a groomed area, I'm gonna do all I can to try to get out there. Just like I'm just thinking right now, if I was in the trees in Beaver Creek, I know that I could probably get out to a groomed area. It would take me a while, but I could do it, and a cat would pick me up. If I'm deep in country, where I'm back in the country,
you're deep.
Now,
I'll help you out with that one. You're pretty deep back there.
Deep.
Yep.
And the chances of me debating to get out to an area where I'm already could probably be hypothermic and die from exposure, and then I would probably, at that point, I would go to try to shelter and try to dig a snow cave to try to get insulated.
Nailed it. And I should have given you a little bit more background as far as, hey, am I 2 miles off the slopes or am I 400 feet? You're pretty deep in the backcountry. And so given the fact that sun's down, there aren't a whole lot of people out there, you got a broken leg, hypothermia will start kicking in addition to shock from your injury. Yep, it is time to take your energy and shelter in place.
Yeah.
Now, are you going to, I think you already got this one, but are you going to dig a snow cave, or are you going to try and create a fairly expedited lean-to?
Well, I would do a snow cave. I mean, you have more insulation from the snow of getting inside, and then using a smaller area with your body heat to insulate that small cavity than being in my clothing that I'm at, that I'm already probably wet from being, where I fell down in the snow. So I would do a cave.
Absolutely. And you already mentioned it, but for folks that don't know, yeah, you'll probably use a little extra energy trying to dig a snow cave. But once you're inside a snow cave, folks, the insulation properties are amazing in there. Number one, it's windproof, which is huge. And number two, I've been in snow caves where the temperature with even just a small candle was upwards of mid 40s. So that's a very comfortable environment, especially that you're in your ski gear. So yes, a snow cave vice lean-to is correct, and you are now at plus 10. You're back in the positive, buddy. All right, you are checking your body, kind of like you did after you punched out. Hey, what do I got on me? Okay, cell phone's broken. That's not going to help. You happen to have a flask on you, and a flask, and it's got some whiskey in it. So what are you going to do? Are you going to take a sip out of that whiskey or not?
I'm going to pass on it.
Why?
There's something that I remember reading, and I don't recall 100% now, that in situations like this, alcohol isn't going to be your friend. It actually is a dehydrant, and you want to stay hydrated.
You're absolutely right, and that's the reason why. You're already going to be battling with dehydration. You are going to accelerate it by consuming alcohol. But what you can do with that alcohol is you can put that on your wound to help clean that. So don't put it down your throat, put it on your injury. Plus 20, buddy. Congratulations. We're moving on. You're in your snow cave. Are you going to try and make a fire next, or are you going to get wet clothes off? Your underlayer is soaking wet as a result of everything you're going through. So try and make a fire or get those wet clothes off.
Man, I mean, because if I take off the wet clothes, what do I have? What do I have to make a fire in the first place?
I don't know. What do you have? That's kind of part of it. Do you have anything to make a fire?
I mean, I would have to have either a lighter or matches or something that could ignite. And if I don't have something on me, I'm not going to be able to build a fire. because rubbing green wood together out in the snow isn't going to produce fire sparks.
Yeah, it's just a non-starter. It goes back to sort of your philosophy about when things got nasty, you slowed down a little bit so you didn't make mistakes. This is the same situation you're in with an economy of your energy.
If I can get out of my wet clothes, I'd get out of my wet clothes if I'm going to be where I'm not exposed to the wind and I'm in the cave and it's compartmentalized enough where it's not overly sized to where, I want to keep it in good insulation. But it's also where I have room enough to where I can take off my clothes to where I can get dry, at least get my skin dry. I would want to do that first.
That's smart. And it goes back to what's the thing that's going to kill me first? That's what I need to address first. A fire would be nice. It's going to require a lot of energy. It might not even happen given what you have, or what I should say you don't have. But what will happen is every second you're wearing that wet clothing, it is putting you that much closer to a hypothermic situation that you won't be able to get out of.
Yeah.
So absolutely get rid of those wet clothes, at least the underlayer. You can put your parka and stuff back on, but those wet clothes are just soaking and pulling energy and heat off your body. Plus 30. All right, my man. The sun is starting to come up. You're hurting. It was a long night, didn't get any sleep. Obviously, your leg is a mess, but it's a new day. Are you going to stay put, or are you going to get on the move?
They're going to be looking for me now.
They should be.
People are going to want to know where I'm at.
That redhead said you never came home, and she's worried about you.
She ain't worried about me anymore.
Neither are you.
But no, they're going to start coming looking for me now. And what would be best is if I could put up some kind of a signal of something that they can see that's outside of my snow cave. And I'm going to stay put for a period of time. And I'm going to wait for them to come and get me.
Okay, that technically is the correct answer with a caveat. How long are you going to stay put? I'll give you the 10 points for that. So you're plus 40, buddy. How long are you going to stay put?
Yeah, I mean, the backcountry rescue should be on site within that first day. Waiting another night is really going to be a call where I'm going to have to do a check on my health. Am I critical? Where if I stay another night, am I going to die? If it's not going to be critical, I'll think about it. But it's also where, what's the sunlight during the day and night? When does the sun go down? How long do I think it's going to take me to evade those 2 miles through the snow of the backcountry to be able to get out to a groomed area? To then risk hoping that somebody in a cat will find me. Those are all things I'm going to have to consider. I'm definitely, at worst, willing to stay a day and another night if I have the ability to live, if I'm not going to die from that. If I feel like I can't live another night here, then I'm going to have to, at the middle of the day when it's the warmest that it's at, I'm then going to have to start the evasion to get out to friendly area.
And that's the situation you'll find yourself in. It's noon. You're not hearing helicopters. You're not hearing anybody. Nobody's showing up. And you decide, look, I'm starting to feel issues from the injury of shock. Hypothermia is starting to kick my butt. I'm having a hard time concentrating. So you make the decision, all right, now it's time to move. I don't want to do another night here, especially without any traffic around. So you have a decision. You can go uphill 1 mile following your ski tracks because okay, right up there is a groomed slope, or you can travel downhill about 2.5 miles, and that should put you back on one of the groomed slopes. So it's back uphill the way you came from mile, or about 2.5 miles down.
Do I see? Can I visually see 2.5 miles down the groomed area I need to go to?
No, but the fact that you skied Beaver Creek for years, you know, and you do have one of the maps, you're like, all right, that's about a mile to go up to that slope. It's about 2.5 to go down and intercept with it. Uphill for a mile or down for 2.5.
Yeah, the mindset is what I know is better than what I don't know. And if I know exactly where the groomed area is a mile away from me, even though it's uphill, it's going to be hard going uphill with one leg. But going downhill, even though you can kind of go down on your rear end, the problem with that is then getting into a bowl area where it's not easy to get out of that, and you're disorientated and you don't know where you're at, and you don't know where you're going. So if I know and I've got a map, and I know for sure that the direction I'm going to go in is going to get me to that area downhill, if it's easier for me to maneuver downhill, I'll go downhill. But if it's not, if it's an unknown and if it's going to be risky, I'll just go right back up the 1 mile up my path that I came down, which is
okay, Scott. But unfortunately, in hypothetical survival world, you have to decide. Heading up for a mile, heading down for about 2.5.
Okay, and I've got a map, and I know where to go uphill, but I don't have a guaranteed downhill.
I mean, you've been skiing this slope for a long time, so you have a pretty good idea where you're at. Unfortunately, nobody else does at this point. I'm going to give you a hint. Gravity.
Yeah, going downhill is easier. I just don't want to be going downhill and then get into a bowl area that I'm trapped in, and now I'm in an unknown area.
Okay, what's it going to be, Scott? Up or down,
okay,
buddy?
I'll go down.
Excellent. All right. And I agree. If you were healthy, if you were not injured, absolutely. I know it is right up there. I'm going that direction. You've got a broken leg and bone sticking out. It's going to be a huge task crawling up there with 2 hands and 1 leg, dragging that thing. So we're going to go ahead and take advantage of gravity. You could potentially get on your skis. Yeah, you might end up in an area that you're not familiar with, but we all know what is at the bottom of a ski slope. It's a lodge, it's people, it's houses, it's population. Let's move towards that. It's further, but it's probably going to be a hell of a lot easier given gravity and your injury. So, plus 50, buddy, a few more. As you are moving downhill, you hear something and then you see it. It's a black bear and he sees you. Again, this is a black bear. Mm-hmm. He's taken interest in you and he's slowly moving toward you. Are you going to A, play dead, or B, do everything you can to fight against this approaching animal? You've got skis, you've got poles. Play dead. Hopefully he ignores you. Again, it's a black bear.
My experience in the woods with black bears already is if I make enough noise, they run away. And I've had a mama bear with her 3 cubs.
Danger.
Circling around me in a stand, and she wanted to come up the stand and sit in there with me. And I just had to scream and yell. And that made her go away off a distance where she was screaming for her cubs to come and follow her and to come down out of the trees. So I would actually, with a black bears, people need to realize, are just as dangerous as browns. In fact, historically, they killed pretty much just about the same amount of people as brown bears and grizzlies. So don't let a black bear fool you into thinking it's a big teddy bear. They're dangerous, but they're pretty much going to be more, in my experience, apt to want to get away from you if you start making a scene. And they're going to be curious as to what you are. But I'm going to start screaming at it and yelling, "Hey, bear," and try to get it to shoo away.
Well, that's smart. And I know you know this already, but what you already said about black bears, a grizzly or a brown bear will oftentimes lose interest in something that appears not to be moving. I don't think that'd be a hell of a lot of fun getting taken up by a grizzly and then acting like you're dead. Black bears, however, do not tend to do that. They will just go to town on you, whether you're moving or not. So not playing dead is the correct answer. Congratulations, 60 points. All right, buddy, we got a couple more here. You have come to a section, and in your experience and all your skiing, you look up, it's a clearing that you need to cross, but it is clearly a very high avalanche scenario here. So you have to cross this clearing if you want to continue the path you're on, but you're looking at a major avalanche opportunity, or you continue down, but it's guiding you a little bit away, but you're skirting the tree line. Are you going to go for it, attempt to cross an avalanche zone, or are you going to continue down but slightly away from where you want to go, hugging the tree line?
I'm going to hug the tree line. I mean, people die in the backcountry from avalanches all the time.
Yes, sir, they do.
And me being out there could trigger one off if I try to cross it.
You're absolutely right, and it might take you a little bit longer, but it would really suck to try cross that, and then you're dead, and they might not find you until the spring.
Yep.
So that's excellent. Plus 70. Final question, Scott. You're killing it, buddy. Here we go. You are hugging that tree line. You hear a helicopter. Somebody's looking for you. Are you going to stay where you're at on the tree line and attempt to signal them using the broken phone you got, which will throw off a reflection from the screen? Or are you going to try and head out into that clearing, make yourself much more visible, and try and wave down this bird?
I'm not going to do something that's going to trigger off an avalanche, but I'm going to use the phone as a reflector to try to get them, hopefully, to see me from my position I'm at. If I can already have a line of sight of seeing them, of trying to get a reflection to where they see my signal. So is me coming out in the clearing now, have I gotten around the avalanche area, or am I still in danger of it?
You're still neck deep in it. So you're hugging the tree line, or you're moving out to the avalanche area to make yourself more visible.
No, I'm gonna stay, where I'm not gonna get into the avalanche area, but I'm gonna try to signal from where I'm at.
And that's smart, and that's the correct answer. And not only is the avalanche area dangerous, but now you have a helicopter overhead that could also basically cause that thing to break loose. Scott O'Grady, congratulations. You got 80 out of 100 points. You survived this scenario, buddy. Well done.
Thanks.
All right, so we like to do something at the end of the show. We call it After Action Report, and it's basically sort of a summary of what I've learned, maybe what you might have learned in the scenario.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
When I'm down, am I now in the lodge after my leg's been fixed with the cute brunette?
So the Swedish bikini team all happen to be there waiting for you. You're getting taken care of. You're all set. You don't even realize you broke your leg. So congratulations. That's the bonus.
Then you can add the whiskey.
Now you can pull your flask out. It's perfect. Buddy, this is awesome, man. I mean, I really appreciate it. I know you've told this story, but there's so much to be learned from it. Just like you read about these guys from Vietnam and all that, your story has so much in it. And you don't have to be a pilot that punched out to learn. Keep going, stay alive, keep fighting. What's the next smart move? It might not be the most expedient way to do things. And it's an awesome story. I'm proud to have you as a friend. I think everybody's going to learn from this, whether they find themselves in a situation where they went off the road in their car and they're trying to get home, or, God forbid you got somebody else that's going to have to punch out over enemy territory. I can't thank you enough, buddy. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for your time. I'm looking forward to going elk hunting with you this fall.
Likewise, buddy. I appreciate it. And the last thing I'll tell your listeners is that, if I can get through it, you can too. And you'd be surprised what you're capable of doing when you're put into the situation. And just learn the lessons that Kate is teaching you here through this podcast. Thanks for having me on, buddy.
Oh, thank you, Scott. I'll be talking to you soon. Folks, this is Cade out. Hey, thanks for watching, folks. If you enjoyed the show, go ahead and smash that like button. And don't forget to subscribe and ring that bell. Any questions or suggestions for future episodes, leave it in the comments so you can be a survivor, not a statistic. And if you want more from this guest, including an amazing interview, you can find us on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast platform. Can You Survive This Podcast is a Cavalry audio production, recorded live from the bunker in Denver, Colorado. Hosted by me, Kate Courtley. Produced by Brandon Morgan and Kate Courtley. Associate producer is Jeff Apple. Executive produced by Keegan Rosenberger and Dana Brunetti. When the public health crisis known as COVID-19 hit our nation back in March, the Gary Sinise Foundation mobilized quickly to launch the Emergency COVID-19 Combat Service. This national campaign supports medical professionals, first responders, service members, veterans, and all of those who so courageously stand on the front lines of this global pandemic. Whether they are providing critical PPE to first responders, care packages to our military service members, or meals to medical professionals and hospitals, this campaign is an extension of the Gary Sinise Foundation's mission to honor those who so bravely protect our nation. Support our heroes today at GarySiniseFoundation.org.